All right, guys, welcome to Local Prep on October 12th. Excited to see all of you in a couple of days for our TLA Prep number 3. Tonight's TLA is going to be fun. We're going to start to launch our fitness and health program for Leadership Academy. So basically, for the next month, from now till Olean, we're going to be launching our fitness and health program. So I'm excited about that. I need it in the worst way. I have gained 20 pounds since the end of the summer, so that's been exciting. A lot of good food, a lot of travel, and some unhealthy eating habits. So that is going to change. I've got a built-in 20-pound head start on you guys of weight that I could lose easily. So I'm excited about that. But I'm hoping to lose in the next month. My big, scary, hairy, audacious goal is to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. So that's the mission. From a wellness standpoint, fitness-wise, just getting back into the jiu-jitsu gym is definitely a focus of mine. And I've got with Sam Knapp a 30-day running challenge that's going to be taking place. So I'm excited to get Mr. Knapp out on the road, put foot to the pavement. So I'm excited to see what he and I are able to achieve in our endurance, little contest that we've got going. So that being said, we're going to jump right in with the material. From an agenda standpoint, guys, what we're going to talk about is we're going to introduce the fitness and wellness standpoint of our TLA agenda. Then we're going to dig in a little bit to some reminders for prep this weekend, and then we'll wrap things up with a little introduction to PDI and having important what's in it for them type conversations. So we're going to launch into that. And we'll also review the agenda for the weekend too. So let's go ahead and get rolling. So we talked about in the Wheel of Life, that kind of true north exercise that we did, that there's 6 components being the best version of yourself. The last month and a half or so, we really dug into the relationship side and the personal growth side. So introducing a habit of personal growth, making that part of your everyday life. Also, we talked about relationships and how to really maintain and build proper relationships. Talked about the love language test, and I think by now you guys know how you interact and respond to appreciation and gratitude. We talked about CVI, which kind of goes into what you really value, what your core guidance takes you towards, and more importantly, what your conflict strategy is. And guys, even if all that you do with CVI is just those 2 things, which is basically what do you value and where do you go in times of conflict, you're going to put yourself light years ahead of your peer group when it comes to managing others and it comes to managing yourself. I'm sure all of you guys know adults, people that are maybe your peers, that when it comes to handling times of strife, go to bad places, right? Maybe you've got a parental figure, or you've got a former boss. Maybe you've got a grandparent even that still doesn't know how to handle themselves the right way. And when they get angry, or when they get in times of conflict, they go to a deep dark place that's really not conducive to building the relationship. So just simply knowing that and being able to kind of utilize that conflict strategy document that we talked about and we shared at our last prep could really help you tremendously. It can help you in terms of work relationships too. So we talked about that. We talked about getting yourself in the habit of being in personal growth mode, which is so important. My original division manager Larry's fond of saying, you're either green and growing or you're brown and dying, right? And and that's true with it's true with the leaves, as you're seeing here in the fall as the leaves change colors. But it's also true in your own personal standpoint. You're either progressing or you're digressing at all times. So the next 2 topics that we're going to dig into out of the 6 are going to be health and financial fitness, right? So those two things are going to be things that are going to take the next month, and we're going to dig into those, which I'm really excited about. And then we'll wrap things up at the end of the fall campaign, talking about social contribution and in the spiritual component a little bit. So what I'm also excited to do is we're going to revisit these programs again in the spring. So it's one of those things we're not just going to do it in the fall. We're going to do advanced skill set management, advanced, I guess, teachings and topics. We'll have guest speakers, guest lectures kind of come into some of our monthly preps to help us out with some of these programs in the spring too. So it's great. On the topic of personal growth, it's funny, I was showing Doug and Ellie this earlier, but I actually picked up this planner. This is going to be for next year. It's actually an unmarked planner. So for those of you that don't have a good planner, you can certainly order it now. This planner is actually called the Law of Attraction Planner. There is another one called the Passion Planner that I know, Cole Forrester has used, for many years. It's great. But basically what it is it's a planner that is broken up into a couple different categories. It's got, your normal typical monthly breakdown, which is awesome. It's got a breakdown of every single day. This one's undated, so literally you could start at any month. It doesn't have to be a month that you have. Some of them you have to wait through the academic calendar or the end of the year, right, and start it for next year. But this one's undated, so you can literally pick it up at any time and start fresh. It's pretty cool because it's got desired goals this month, three goals that you're shooting for. It's got a little section here for ideas, gratitude lists, things to be thinking about, mind mapping. It's also got action steps to take for different things in your life. Then when you go into the weekly part, that's the second part of it, is a weekly planner. And in the weekly planner, it's pretty cool because this one actually starts at 5 a.m. and it's every 30 minutes all the way to 11 p.m. So it goes way before and after most planners that you're going to see. It also has, it's pretty cool. It's got a positive habit maker section at the bottom of each week. And it's broken down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what's kind of cool is, we talked about, it really goes well into the things that we talk about here at Leadership Academy. It's already pre-filled out 3 things for you. Gratitude/love, so things that you're practicing, appreciating, meditation, which is part of that daily morning ritual we talked about, and also exercising. And then it's got a spot here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others, which for me, this is going to be something that I'm going to actually use starting officially in January. But what I really love about it is that my goal is to create a morning pattern of my critical 6 areas of personal growth and just put that in. And then I'm going to start tracking this off. I'm hoping that it becomes something that's, it just becomes part of my DNA where I don't have to kind of check it off. But at first, whenever you're creating a habit, it does need to be something that you're personally monitoring and progressing, kind of like a phone jam tracker or something you got to do when you're brand new to make sure. And also if you get off track, you got to go back to it to make sure this is kind of designed for that. So this got that there. It's also kind of cool because it's got priorities for each day. So the top 3 priorities are in our business. When I talk to our district managers, hey, what are the 3 things that need to get done today to be able to say, you know what, I won the day. And right now as a district manager, there's 3 things that have to happen each day. Number 1 is you got to set up 5 good PRs and take ownership of that as a district manager. Number 2 is you got to make sure you're talking to every single rep on your team. And number 3 for this time of year, it's campus. You got to get on campus at least 3 times a week to really make it effective. So, but it's got that for each stuff. Now, the other thing that's cool is at the end of the month, it's got a reflection section that allows you to go back and look back and analyze yourself. And what's pretty funny is it says right here, was I in harmony? And under the harmony section, here's the categories they list. This is going to sound kind of familiar. Financial, career, personal growth, health, attitude, social life, relationships, and family. So a lot, kind of some of those similar things that we talk about. I think you could easily change this to just be those top 6 things that we talked about. You can make these your top things. It's got some pretty cool little subsections too that says, how do I feel about my progress? What obstacles or fears did I encounter inside myself during this month? What were my top 10 achievements that I achieved? And what action steps can I take to improve? So, and then it's got a little note section too. So I guess there's technically 4 spots for each month, but it's kind of cool little program. There's another one, like I said, called Passion Planner that works well too. But just an interesting thought if you're struggling or if you need a new planner. I'm a big fan of planning in general, especially as you get more successful, as you get further up in any business, company, family. Life only gets busier. If you start having children, you got their schedules you're trying to monitor as well as your own. It doesn't slow down. And so you can either ask for more time in a day, which probably won't happen, or you can ask to be better prepared and better planned. So love this little planner. The other thing that I was fired up about was in talking to Trent Booth. He's somebody that's really a big proponent of this type of Leadership Academy program. He's going to be doing some Leadership Academy videos he's going to be sending out that we'll be utilizing. And I'm excited about where his influence is going to be spread throughout the company. He delivered an amazing message at SLC. We'll watch it. It's funny because as you see it, you're going to see a lot of the things that I personally have kind of shared with you. And a lot of this has just come from him. And he's got a lot of great stuff that he's doing there to do it. So as we get into this financial and health component, what I'm going to ask that you do is open up a new notes section in your phone, your laptop, wherever you keep your notes. Ideally, something that's syncable or something that you keep with you at all times. Some of you guys know I'm a huge Mac fan, and in Mac, there's a notes section on a MacBook where you can open up a notes section and it'll automatically sync to your phone. So I was taking notes from SLC on my computer. Boom, it popped up here. There was no power outlet at one point in the big room where the meeting room was, so my computer died. So I was able to take notes on my phone, and when my laptop synced back up, it synced everything still. So that was that's one of the reasons why I like opening a note section, is because it can always be there. If other people use Evernote or something like that, I think that's another app that you can use where it syncs between devices. But if you got something where you keep it, that would be ideal. So here's what I want you to do. What I want you to write down is what are some goals that you have for both your finances and your health for the next 30 days. Okay. Because here's why I'm saying that. In this law of attraction planner, it talks about how there's 8 basically steps or roadmaps that happen in order to effectively create what you want or quote unquote attract what you want. The first one is awareness and self-discovery. We're going to talk about that at prep on Saturday. The next one is making a mission and a vision statement. Third one is to set big goals. Fourth one is to create kind of a vision board or a life statement that you go by. The fifth one is to create a strategy. Sixth one is to take action, monthly action, daily action plan. Seventh one is to feel good and to manifest it. Taking time to really own it, feel it, so that you feel like you made progress on it, right? I guess in that case that would be like the photos that you see health people take, right? The before and afters, and and they're constantly showing them off on Instagram, right? And then the last one is reflecting on your time so that you can internalize and be able to do it again, ideally. So then what I want you guys to do is list yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate yourself in the following areas of health? Number 1, nutrition. And let's make it nutritional knowledge. Okay. So do you know on a scale of 1 to 10 what your body needs and doesn't need based on what your goals are? On a scale of 1 to 10. So for example, if you're trying to gain weight, do you know what your body needs? Gain the right type of weight. I'm not talking like the weight I gain. And if you're trying to lose weight, do you know what your body needs? Do you know what you got to start to eliminate. And I guess I think it is very, very important that you make sure that it's not just, okay, well, I read this, on a billboard. So like, do you actually understand the processes of why you need certain things? Okay. 10 would be basically you're a certified nutritionist. 1 would be like, you have no idea. Okay. So, second one, scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate yourself on your diet currently? So there's a difference between knowing how to do something and doing something, right? This would be like the difference of knowing how to call recommendations and actually sitting down and calling recommendations, right? Are you following through with what you need to do? So diet is a big component of it. How would you rate it? 10, by the way, would be that you've got a macro goal that you're setting for fat, carbs, and protein, and you're sticking to it. 1 would be you just go, right? You just eat whatever, whenever. Hungry, eat, right? What's there, doesn't matter, right? All right. Next one, next category, next part of health is on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your knowledge of fitness? Knowing what your body needs, again, for working out purposes. It's interesting. You actually probably need less physical activity than you think you do in order to lose weight, and a lot more to gain than you would think. But do you know what you're supposed to do to lose weight? Do you know what you're supposed to do to gain weight? As a female, do you know do you know how to do endurance training? Do you know how to do the proper type of weight training to get what you want? I've found in the years of working with a lot of students that particular females, there's a stigma against lifting weights, and that if a female lifts weights, she'll get big. It's not accurate. We do have different biomechanics that lifting weights can actually help you lose weight, and more importantly, lose fat and turn fat into muscle. Gentlemen, do you know what you're supposed to do in order to actually lift weights? Do you know how many times a week you should be doing legs, for example? A lot of times that's the one that people don't do. And skipping leg day can be detrimental to whatever gains you want to make or lose, whatever you want to lose. Huh? So the last one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current level of physical activity? 1 would be you haven't seen the inside of a gym or a outdoor park in a month. 10 would be you're in there 5 days a week, lifting / running, doing something for a good solid 45 minutes a day. Again, you don't need as much as you think to stay fit. By the way, I would rate, if you're just getting out and you're walking every day, taking a lap, going on a 30-minute power walk, or going for a quick jog, I think that would be sufficient too. But
so the one game of beach volleyball.
Yeah, the one game of beach volleyball is probably, depending on if you had alcohol in your system, I would say probably counteract each other. So, there's a bunch of games that were just happening random. So, the funniest one I heard was actually a pool volleyball scene that happened, in which most of the DVMs, well, not most, but there were several DVMs there and some DMs there that participated, and they lost, actually. That was the funniest one I've heard of. But so 1 to 10 basically, all right? So So now that you've got that, let's start delving a little bit more into the process. Okay. So with health, we've got our 4 key areas, right? With your finances, let's dig into here, right? On a scale of 1 to 10 with your finances, how would you rate your current money generating business, which for us is sales and demos, right? 10 would be that you're consistently selling, 1,500 a week, right? If you're consistently selling 1,500 a week, in most cases, if you're on this call or on this video, you're making, $300 to $500 a week, and or more, and you're probably doing okay if you're a young professional. Some of you guys need a lot more than that, and if that's the case, do so. That'll go into this next statement. Okay, so 1,500 a week plus would be a 10. I would say a 1 would be 0 a week, right? Or 0 would be 0. Right, so maybe give yourself for every $100, $200 a week you're selling consistently an extra, point. Right? The second part is on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate your expense control? Okay, so are you controlling your expenses? Because there's really 2 elements of saving money. Number 1 is generating it. Number 2 is not spending it. Number 3, what would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10? And this is where sometimes it gets people tripped up. Your overall knowledge of your budget. Do you know your budget? Do you have it where you've got it broken down into different buckets where you know where money should go? Do you have a monthly budget? Do you have a weekly budget that you know you need to keep to? And then the last one on a scale of 1 to 10 would be, how would you rate your awareness and knowledge of investing? Okay. And this is one, honestly, guys, that I don't expect you to have a whole lot of knowledge about at a young state in your professional careers. However, it is one that we're going to start to talk about at our divisional prep, and I'll continue to talk about it at our weekly ones. Okay, so we're gonna start to weave some of this stuff in on a consistent basis. So let's talk about, first of all, measurement programs. Okay, so ways to measure your money, ways to measure your health. Okay, ways to measure these 2 growth areas. So the first thing that I want you to do, if you've not done so, is to download. There's 2 apps that I want you to download. Number 1, okay, is MyFitnessPal. This is going to help manage your basically your health and your diet. It's one of the best, most complete programs that I know of. That's also free. It doesn't cost you anything. And guys, what we're going to do is we're going to start it. We're going to start it with prep this weekend on Saturday, but I want you guys to already have it downloaded. And what you guys can do is you can friend me on there, and that way we'll help hold each other accountable. And what's cool about it, guys, is that you can create diet programs in here. You can also create progress. You could track your progress where you track your weight. You also can put in your steps and how much activity you're doing. I'm not so much worried about the exercise part. Everybody's going to be different with their exercising, because for some of you guys, I mean, if you just literally went and walked for 15 minutes a day, your cardiovascular is so good that you'll burn enough calories where it won't matter. Your metabolism's so good that you'll get lean or whatever. For some of you guys, you're going to need a lot more time in the gym to get where you want to be. So not so much worried about the exercise part, but I do want everybody to be utilizing the simple act of tracking their food that they're eating. And I encourage you to start doing it this week if you can, to get a jump start on it. But we will officially start it on Saturday at our management prep at TLA. Okay. And that one's again a great app there. We'll come up with some different goals, and the ones that they initially set you to, they have some macro goals that if you're if you're a moderatively in shape, male or female, the goals that they give you should be totally cool. If you're trying to lose drastic amounts of weight, then you're really going to need to change your macros a little bit. And we could talk about that on an individual basis if you want to. So I'll talk to you guys one-on-one about that if that's something you want. Okay. The next thing that I want you to download, right, is a very simple one called Mint. Some of you guys may already have Mint. If you have Mint, it's a cool tracking app for your finances. It kind of puts it all in one place. Helps you with budgets, helps you know where your expenditures are going. I know a lot of credit cards these days do the same thing. But it's important that you have a tracking system in place for this, because what that does is it allows you to know where your money is going and where your calories are going too. You know, because if you can at least create awareness for yourself, then that allows us to kind of make progress and to notice if there's anything off base. So I would equate that to being in our business, having web PDI, you know, utilizing it, having it in place where you know where your demos are, you know where your office is on a weekly basis in sales, and Vector Live for recruiting purposes, knowing where your touches are coming in and where they're going out. Okay. Let me know when you guys got these downloaded. And hopefully you got them downloaded already. Huh? It should just be mint.com. Is it what, like $1 or something? What's this saying here? I thought they had a free one.
It's free. Well, it was. So I had some called Minty.
Minty. Should be.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, it's just Mint, Money Manager, Budget. It's free. Looks like there's also one called Coin Keeper. So, and so here's kind of the next 4 local preps, what we're going to kind of discuss. So the first thing we're going to discuss kind of at the local prep with everybody on Saturday is going to be the introduction to macros, managing macros, knowing what that means, how to measure your food properly, and make sure that you're kind of tracking things properly. We're also going to talk about kind of a very simplified version of fitness plan, okay, for everybody, if that's something that they're interested in doing. If it's one of those things where you don't really give a shit, well, at least this way you have it and you know for later. We're also going to talk about creating a budget. So we're going to help you guys create a budget at the Saturday TLA Prep, and start talking about buckets of money and where money goes and how to start investing and keep track of things. Other topics are going to be creating your knowing what your credit score is, and helping to monitor your credit score and learning more about your credit score, how to influence it, how to help repair it if it's a bust right now, how to, if it's good, how to make sure you keep it good. We're going to talk about that. The other thing that we're going to talk about is basics of financial management, so financial investing, and where to kind of build money. So how do you get your emergency funds built up? How do you then create your long-term retirement accounts? How do you create separate accounts for your kids' education one day if you decide that you want to help support them, right? But there's all sorts of little things that we could talk about with your financial health too. So I'm really fired up about these topics, and depending on how well it's all going, we may continue it a little bit into November still too. So it'll be perfect. We'll go right up all the way to Thanksgiving, and then blow out the diet part for a massive Thanksgiving dinner. So hopefully we don't lose all the gains that we made over Thanksgiving weekend. But but let's talk a little bit about the about the concept of being happy in your emotional state. Okay, I asked you guys to create your emotional state alarms, and we did this at the last prep, and hoping that we have some feedback from that exercise. Did anybody feel like when they did that emotional mind mapping exercise, or that kind of emotional state management exercise, that they were not as happy as they maybe thought they were? Anybody feel that? Okay. Did that help anybody, by the way? Right? Hopefully creating that awareness, it was like, dude, I'm just sitting here looking at this and holy shit, I've got like 2 out of every 3 logs is something not necessarily positive. Right? Maybe it's half. Maybe yours looks like Hiroshima after the atomic bomb was dropped. Maybe yours look like, you know what, for the most part, I've got it pretty good. But maybe it was just about creating awareness for what state that you're in. Okay. And I will say, guys, because that is normal to do at first with this exercise. Hopefully, as you were doing it more, you started catching yourself during that process. Did anybody feel like when they started doing this exercise, after they wrote down their state, there's like, all right, I got to fix that shit? Anybody feel like that?
Yeah, I think something else was more positive.
Yeah. I mean, that's because, and see, here's the thing, guys, because if you don't, it will wreak havoc on your relationships around you. Right? If you're constantly going through life angry or sad, it will wreak havoc on the relationships, both professionally and personally, around you. Or even worse than that, guys, what you'll do is you'll attract people into your life that feed off of that stuff. And in my mind, that's just as bad. Because when you're attracting people into your life that's like they just like live off that stuff, they have to have that stuff in order for them to feel useful. And unfortunately, you may be one of those people right now, or have been that person. I've been in that place before where it's like, what's going wrong? Let me run to that problem. And the reality is, guys, is that you've got to focus on positive things in order to create more positive things. Negative things create more negative things consistently. And that doesn't mean you ignore problems at all, by the way. What it does mean is that you got to put yourself in a position to get away from the negative into the positive. Because otherwise, all you're going to do is just learn how to better deal with being negative, which that's not fun either. Every single one of us is meant to be happy. Every single one of us is meant to feel good. Every single one of us is meant to have times of struggle, but more importantly, really be able to understand when things are great so they can really relish those and be in the moment. Because what ends up happening is if you're not understanding the difference when things are good, you brush it off as, oh, it's about time. You start telling yourself that, it's about time something positive can happen my way. What you're really telling yourself right there in that moment is, you know what? I'm not worthy of having good things happen to me a lot. It has to be an about time. It has to be a, once in a blue moon. It has to be a, time where it's unexpected, where it actually comes up. You have to, quote unquote, get lucky to have a good time. So, when you guys went through this exercise and you caught yourself in a bad place, maybe, right? Maybe you realize, ooh, I'm negative right now. I'm being a grump, or I'm being, a jerk, or I'm being pathetic, right? I mean, I know when I did this exercise, there were times where I was like, ooh, that's not good. Ooh, yeah, I'm pathetic right there. What did you do, if anything, to get out of it. Did you do anything? No, it's okay if you didn't, by the way. And if you're listening in and you didn't do anything either, it's just kind of like, well, I just know this is where I was. That's at least a start. Okay? What I'd like to offer is something that you can do to kind of help it out. This is where that favorite things exercise becomes really important. Do you guys still have your favorite things list? Okay. Well, what I'm going to ask that you do is, if you don't, I want you to just kind of start writing some down, but pull out that favorite things exercise. And I want you to start to write down some of those favorite things. If you've got your list of your favorite things, I want you to reread it. You know, I know for me, one of my favorite things is kick-ass authentic Mexican food. It's pretty awesome. Okay. I had an opportunity to experience that on this vacation. We had a little beach getaway where at the end of our little excursion, or part of the excursion, was kind of this authentic, barbecue buffet, right? And I was able to get, homemade authentic fajitas, where they literally were making the tortillas there, right? The big flour tortillas. She was sitting there balling it up, flattening it out, and making it, right? And then, putting in steak and chicken, and, it was unreal, right? I know that is one of my favorite things. And I know now that at any given time, if I need kind of good food that will instantly cheer me up, I can go. If I find an authentic Mexican spot, I was reminded of that this weekend. And I know anytime I go eat authentic Mexican, right, whether it's tonight for Mega Talk or somewhere else, it's going to remind me of a great trip that I had. Okay? It's going to remind me of the people that were there, people that they were there divisionally, right? And it's going to remind me of Mexico, which is awesome. Maybe something else on your favorite things list would be, the beach in general, right? And if there's a way that you can craft in a trip to the beach several times a year, it gives you extra motivation. And sometimes simply the act of pulling out your planner and seeing, 2 weeks, going to Charleston. Like, I know for me, going to Charleston is one of my favorite things. It's where Mom is, where I was born, right? There's killer restaurants. There's cool people there. There's great bars. It's a great town. So that's on my favorite things list. Maybe on your favorite things list is a good, again, I'm honestly just telling some of mine, right? But a good workout session. I know when I get done with a great workout session, I feel awesome. I feel ready to tackle the day. And so if I could build more of that in, I feel good about it. Maybe there's somebody that's on, maybe a favorite things list is a phone conversation with somebody. It's like, okay, if I didn't have something go the way I wanted, I need to call that person. I get a quick pep talk, right? Or I can get a quick, I can share a quick story or a laugh, right? Maybe that's on your favorite things list. Okay. But find ways and find little things, guys, that you can do to incorporate that. I will say, guys, if you've got a favorite things list, a lot of times you could just look at your favorite things list and you feel better. Okay. I know for me, Tyson's on my favorite things list. He's a butthead sometimes, right? I know when I got home last night, he was fired up. He was running around, jumped up, got all up in my stuff, right? Because he had all these unusual smells that come back from Mexico, right? And he was like, what the hell is this? And he's kind of smelling my luggage, Not like that, right? It sounds a lot worse than it really is. It's more like beach sweat and suntan lotion than anything. But he was just excited about, smelling, like the world that I had been in, right? And he was so fired up, last night he crawled behind my legs. It was like sleeping behind my calves, right? That's on my favorite things list. And then he growled at me this morning as I was getting ready to come here, and I was reminded that even your favorite things can be detrimental if they have too much of them, right? But it's one of those things where just having surrounding yourself with that, reminding yourself of that is great. And this topic is a very, very important topic that was covered in Man's Search for Meaning, which is written by the psychiatrist who was a Holocaust survivor. Very fitting on Yom Kippur that we get to talk about this. But in his book, he talks about that thing, that there were people that were in these camps that were mistreated terribly, that had a more positive, better outlook on life than people that were their prosecutors, right? Their captors. They were better. They felt happier. And it's just, you just think about the tragedy that those individuals had to experience. Man, it's just so moving. I mean, I had an opportunity to go visit one of the camps at Dachau one time, 16. And in fact, I will say, I know some of you guys know that the national trip next year is Munich. It's Germany. It's going to be one of the best, most epic trips, I think, all time that Vector's going to take for branches, districts. You guys can qualify for it. It's going to be friggin' unreal fun. But one of the excursions will undoubtedly be a visit to one of these camps, which is very somber and harrowing experience. But it was, if you're not spiritual, you become very spiritual very quickly going to these places, because you can just feel it, right? You can feel the tension and the sadness in the air, right? You cut it with a knife. But yet these individuals had a better outlook on life than the people that were actually committing these atrocities to them. It's crazy. And some of the quotes from this book that were so big was this. Number one is that we were no longer able to change a situation. You're challenged to change yourself or ourselves. And what a great quote, I think, for Leadership Academy, right? Is that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. Another one was this, is that everything can be taken from a man or a woman, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, most important of the human freedoms, is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances and to choose one's own way. So everything can be taken from somebody, but one thing, that last of the human freedom, which is to be able to choose your attitude and how you're going to react. And then the last one that came from that book, which I thought was, again, one of the best books you'll ever read, says, don't aim at success. The more you aim at it, make it a target, the more you're going to miss it. So success, like happiness, and this ties into the mood thing a little bit, cannot be pursued. It must ensue. And it does as the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself. Success will follow you precisely because you forgot to think about it and just started pursuing something greater. Happiness will happen by not worrying about being happy, but rather pursuing things that in turn will make you happy. You can literally, so basically what he said, you can literally act your way into feeling. So So that's something, guys, that I want you to think about as you're creating that emotional template and you're trying to self-manage yourself, right? Create those favorite things lists. Find out things that truly make you happy and find little ways to incorporate them into your everyday life without it being your everyday life, right? I mean, for example, I love eating authentic Mexican food. But if I ate that breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for the next month, it is not going to help my financial fitness. It gets very expensive to eat authentic all day, every day. Also, it certainly would not help my health. I'd probably die, right? Or my digestive system. I'm getting a little older now, so it would probably kill my colon and everything else, right? So it would not be very healthy for me. I do love it, right? So, right, there is something that I can eat, which will help me feel better about myself. And that's important to make sure that I get as much of that as possible. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Okay. You got to find out favorite things that you like that can also be conducive to making you a better version of you. Okay? The other thing, guys, that I think is important to make sure that you're doing is that you're putting yourself in a position um, to be healthy and happy consistently. Okay? If you're finding yourself having those emotional challenges, putting yourself in a place where you're giving yourself some of these positive, reactions, positive experiences that you can then in turn leverage into happiness. And I will say, guys, that happiness is not the same as pleasure. A lot of times things on your favorite things list are pleasure things, right? Like eating like sea salt and caramel ice cream, right? For example, it's pretty awesome. But it's pleasure. It's not happiness. Meaning once you're done doing that, it goes away. You probably feel bad for yourself because of all the milk and sugar you just consumed, right? Happiness really boils down to taking care of yourself in those critical 6 things. So what I challenge you to do is as you have your favorite things list, write down things in each category. So financially, when you save money, you feel better about yourself, correct? After the fact. So can you find a little victory by maybe you're saving your change every day? I think the simple act of saving your change and putting it in a piggy bank can be a little daily reminder that you're making progress. I know Bank of America has this. I don't think Wells Fargo has it, but where it's a round up feature. Where every time you use your card, you swipe your card, it rounds up and it takes the remaining change up to the next dollar and it saves it into a savings account for you. It's a genius idea. Helps you with your savings. I don't think Wells Fargo has that. Maybe they do. I do know for me, I pay myself first every paycheck. I do it 2 ways. I do it the first way is I have automatic withholdings. I know some of you guys are already doing this. I have automatic withholdings. I actually have 6 accounts that I withhold into out of every single paycheck. In fact, most weeks I withhold more money than I actually take home in my paycheck. Almost every week actually now. But I do that automatically. So I don't even see it, right? It goes into separate withholding accounts. Some of those are investment vehicles. Some of them prepay expenses for next summer. Some of them are designed to, just be kind of flow things that I'll release at the end of the month to kind of pay bills and stuff. But I do that first, right? I also have it set up where every single Monday on my Wells Fargo account, I have, a certain amount of money taken directly from my checking account, business checking, into a personal savings account. So I do that just every week. And guys, overall, that stuff ends up adding up. I mean, to tens of $1,000s a year if you do it consistently. Okay. Now, at a young age, right, in the business, could you set up your withholding accounts and make sure those are going, you don't touch them? And then can you also make sure that on your actual statement, each week you're setting up a free savings account where it transfers a little bit of money. Start with something small, 25 bucks a week. I mean, that sound like a lot, guys, but 25 bucks a week, that ends up adding up. Right? It adds up. A couple grand a year. That could be something over the next 5-10 years, if it's being used properly, could end up generating a good little bit of retirement nest egg for you. Perhaps that is the money that goes into some sort of savings account for you. Okay, that could be gone towards buying your first home, or buying your first vehicle, or buying anything. Right? But that way, it's forced savings that goes towards that. Right? But having something there that can be on your favorite things list. For your health, what are a couple of things that you can have on your favorite things list that lead to happiness? Happiness would be, for example, something with physical activity where you're expending energy but getting yourself healthier. You feel a lot better beyond you're done, right? Like I think about when you work out, for a person being healthy, when you get done, you always feel better about yourself, right? Unless you really blow out your knee or something like that, that's no fun. When you eat a nourishing meal, bless you, you eat a nourishing meal, when you get done, you have more energy. And that should be the purpose. I think it's one of the reasons, by the way, why so many people love breakfast, just in general. It's because a lot of times they're eating it in the morning and they're gaining energy. And so they correlate, put that as, it's like a trigger in their mind of, oh, this is good. This is good. I'm feeling energized, right? Now, if it has caffeine in it, of course, that does extend beyond the time that you're consuming that coffee, right? But doing that is good. Eating healthy foods. Relationships, right? Having a carefree, call, right? Carefree conversation. I know for me, there's a couple of people that, I just laugh hysterically every time I talk to him, right? Mullins, by the way, is one of them. Whenever, there's always something he's doing or talking about or something where I start laughing about. Sometimes probably should do more work related stuff, but that's what it is. I know that, my buddy Everett is another one, my boy E. Every time I laugh with him, I start dying laughing. Every time I talk to him, it's just like this. And I think he calls me more for that than I call him, but there's still that element of it. So my buddies from high school, we've got a text exchange that goes on. That's always hilarity. Okay? And then there's others, right, that I know I can talk to that don't necessarily, it's not about laughing, it's just about, I always feel good. Okay? But having some of those people where it's like, okay, I know if I pinch, I'm not feeling good, I can do a quick text or quick phone call and something will come up. Okay? Creating that list. Business-wise, what are some things that you could do that you feel better about? Okay? Social contribution. What are some things that you could do? Right? Maybe just the act of picking up trash every day. Right? I know Mike Abramowitz took that to the next level where he did his PB&J in Tampa Bay charity, where they've fed tens of thousands of homeless people over the last couple of years. Where literally they have these big, blitz days where they'll come together on Sunday morning and they'll make, thousands of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and deliver them to, the homeless in Tampa Bay. So, that's something that started from a very simple concept and expanded very big. Of course, spiritually, right? Your reflection or / prayer or something that you're doing daily. For some of you guys, becoming a prayer warrior could be something that you're doing where it's just, hey, just a reminder every day, boom. It's part of your routine that gets you feeling in the right state. But having that favorite things list helps you to manage your emotions. And I do truly feel, guys, that all of this is important because how you are and how you react in your personal / physical life does dictate and inform how you perform during your business life, during your school life, during your relationship life. If you're feeling better about yourself personally, you're going to be a better you to your significant other. And if you don't, you'll be a worse you. Right? Okay. So hopefully some of this, triggered some good thoughts and create some good plan and planning for you over the next couple of weeks. And we're going to continue to talk about this stuff. I'm excited to work with you on this tracking things, and we'll review this on Saturday. Let's talk about the agenda on Saturday for a second. It was emailed out earlier today, but the next level topics we're going to talk about are, there's going to be a topic on training, okay, a training discussion topic. We've got a productivity dynamics topic that we're going to talk about, which is Kyle Preeman's productivity keys and things that he did to create massive production in his organization. Kyle Preeman, guys, had one of the lowest zero sellers in the nation. There's a percentage in every office of people that don't sell anything. So meaning they finish training, they sell zero. Okay. And if you can minimize that percentage, you're drastically increasing the overall productivity of your team. In turn, your financial success of your representatives and of yourself as a manager. And so we're going to talk about his programs, particularly his 2, 3, 4, 5 program that he implemented during people's fast starts and then beyond. His PC program that he utilized. We've got Drew Frank's steroid program. We're going to re-talk about that. I've got a full document that's I read through a couple times on the plane ride, but I mean it's literally just it's tons of stuff. Okay, it's a PC to do with representatives. It's a handout to use in training. So we're gonna talk about that. Also, we're going to dig into Hurlman's Advanced Training 1. So some things that he's doing during his instructional message in Advanced Training 1 that I think we can really leverage to be successful. During first year TLA, basically from 12:30 to about 5:30, 6 o'clock, there's going to be opening comments. We're going to drill for skill the interview. We're going to be, Jake Cook's going to be talking about rocking team meetings and how to have killer phone jams. And Jake is one of our best developers in our division right now, and he's somebody who has had consistent trip winners of different contests, and he's talking about how to really rock your team meetings, develop culture in your organization, and drive the phone jams. We're also going to have a group exercise on the Olean Push, and the Olean Push is going to be coming up October 27th. So I got a couple weeks away now, but I just want you guys to be starting to think about that. This is the second time of the fall that we ask everybody to really step up, and this is guys going to be a lot of fun. Imagine being in front of the CEO of the entire company, giving your push report and getting recognized for your effort and your results. It's going to be something that is something you can remember forever. I mean, there's not many times where you could produce in front of the executive board and get recognized, especially at the representative level. So that's going to be happening during that. We're also going to continue digging into financial and physical fitness. We're going to talk about macro management and a wellness program. In addition to that, we're also going to be talking about budgeting. Okay, and so creating and mapping out a budget for your own well-being financially. Then after we wrap up, we'll be heading to my house for a little Halloween party. So the agenda is pretty straightforward. It was emailed out. I do want to make sure, guys, that with this topic, that with the drill for skill, this is something, guys, you just want to make sure that you're bringing it for. Just like anything else, whenever you get an opportunity to perform in front of your peers, it's always in your best interest to step up. Okay, and for the Halloween costume contest, there will be a winner that will be voted on by everybody, and then we'll get free Cutcos. So whoever has the best Halloween outfit will go into getting some free Cutcos. So dress to impress for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about this prep. It's always one of my favorite ones of the year. And for the Halloween party, guys, it'll just be back at my house. I'll have some sort of food get catered and delivered. And then for everybody else, just if you want to bring a dessert of some sort, you can. Don't go too crazy with it. We are trying to start a little health and wellness program for the next month. But if you want to do some desserts, I'm sure people would love to have one little blowout probably before that. And we will talk about cheat days at some point during our wellness program. So if you want to make Saturday your cheat day, rather. All right. Well, guys, for drill for skill tonight, I do want people working on the post interview. So partner up, work on that post interview, and then we're going to go ahead and commence with the wrap up with questions and Q&A from your local district managers. So thanks, guys, for being on. I think we finally figured out Google Hangouts. So thank you for working Google Gods. See ya.